Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Musum.
Hello.
And Mina.
Hi.
Let's just dive right into it. Musum, what have you been playing this past month?
So, my life has been fairly bipolar the last month.
Okay.
But with the Thanksgiving break and the birthday, I had some money and got some games and
nice.
Played a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, all right. Savior of the show this month.
Yeah. So the first game I'll talk about really isn't an RPG, but I wanted to bring up here since it keeps getting compared to Dark Souls, which is Jedi Fallen Order. A friend bought this for me for Christmas, not realizing my birthday was the same week he got it for me. Funny mix up. But anyway, so the like I've been trying to think about how to broach this subject, and I think a lot of this comes down to, like, if you think about genres in like film and books, you can say, oh, this is a mystery thing, and you have an idea of like the emotional and visual experience you'll get. You may not have an idea of when it takes place or whatnot, but when you say a game is a mystery game, that only describes the plot line. It doesn't describe the mechanics of it. So,
right.
With that in mind, Jedi Fallen Order, the combat is very much modeled after Dark Souls.
Okay.
The level design, they very much do intend to have that you walk to a bonfire point or something, and you save there, and then if you elect to heal, then all the enemies come back. Otherwise, they don't.
Opening up shortcuts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do have a skill tree in there, although it's like a pretty... Like, I expect to have the whole thing filled out by the end. Like, it's not like it's super extensive, but...
Oh, okay.
And I think that's probably close to where the similarities end, because like all the... Or at least I'm not super far in the game. I think I'm about to go to the third planet. And like there's another planet I can go to, but every time I go there, I just immediately die. Because I'm not good at these games.
Right.
Even on the... I think I'm playing on, like, I think the difficulty is like the easy, and then Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, and then Impossible or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I am playing on Jedi Knight. Because while I've beaten Demon Souls, I beat that game through blocking and a spear, which which means I don't have to like parry or anything. And Jedi Fallen Order definitely falls into the more Bloodborne side of Dark Souls in that you have to be aggressive and you have to parry.
Gotcha.
And I'm just not great at that. But the game also mixes a bit of, for lack of a better example, I'll say Uncharted into it. But they aren't like great climbing set pieces so far. Like, it's a lot of just, it feels like extra work to kind of get to where you're going in the game, rather than a cool, like, either high tension climbing moment or like cool looking scene or something. But
or like a puzzly sort of climbing thing.
Exactly. Like,
right.
This is more just, hey, here's a thing on the wall that for some reason I have to climb up and then right for a while and then up again, and then I'm at my next battle kind of thing.
Oh, sure.
Like, overall, I'm probably coming off a little negative here. Like, overall, I do like the game. I just wish it was less sold onto the Dark Souls shtick. Like, I feel like I feel like maybe the pitch for this game was like, let's do Dark Souls Jedi. And then they sat down to do it and had some very conflicting opinions in it and kind of came out with what we got.
Right.
But like the opening level, I think, is fairly good. It has a lot of really cool cinematic moments and whatnot in it. And there's a lot of traversal through it. Like, later levels are, I don't think I'm as down about as the level design as other people. Like, I really enjoyed, I don't remember the name of the planet, but wherever the planet you go to after the intro area, for the most part, I really enjoyed that place. It took me a little, like, I had to probably spend an hour fighting this giant frog monster.
I have heard about that boss.
Yeah, like, he's really not that bad once you figure out how to play the game. Like, I suspect people who were playing it like Bloodborne just, like, killed him in one go. But
right.
For me, I didn't play a lot of Bloodborne. I've always meant to go back to it, but time is a thing.
Yeah.
I like kind of the pitch of the story where you're given this character who's very clearly in hiding, who is not actually good with the Force. Like, he's not... he doesn't know what he's doing. So as you get new Jedi powers, like, he's remembering his training and, like, how to do it and whatnot. Like, there's, like, a valid reason for him not knowing how to do any of it.
Right.
The lightsaber customization looks really cool, and I enjoy it. But I wish it had effects on the combat. Like, I don't see how in a world... Granted, I realize Knights of the Old Republic was like 15 years ago or something ridiculous like that. But in a world where that existed, where you could have all these effects on your lightsabers, I feel like they should have put some of that in there. And maybe they did, and it just got cut out scope-wise or something. But
right.
I know, like, there's another fighting stance, and allegedly there's, like, a Darth Maul lightsaber somewhere in there. I have not found any of that stuff. But for the most part, I really enjoy it. Like, you get this cute little droid that rides around on your back, and
yeah, he is super cute.
It's kind of your excuse for scanning stuff, which I enjoy. I'm probably also not as negative on the map for the game as some of the podcasts I've listened to. They give you this 3D map, which is pretty unwieldy at first, but maybe it's just my training from, gosh, what Elder Scrolls game was that? I don't think it was Morrowind. I think it was Daggerfall that had the really terrible 3D maps.
Oh, yeah. Like some of those real early 3D maps where it's like, this is useless.
Yeah. And this one is, for the most part, like, you pull up the map, like... I think it's the yellow, or is it green? I can't remember. No, that's right. It's yellow is unexplored, I think, or green is, hey, this path is open now, and red is, you can't go here yet. You can't do anything with this. So to me, it's mostly self-explanatory. But in terms of, like, trying to go back to a niche you said you'd go back to later, I mean, you're never going to be able to do that, I don't think.
Okay.
But they also are pretty good about opening up, like, alternate routes to everywhere, too. So I don't know. My thinking is once I get all the Force powers, I may actually go back and see how difficult it is to explore the world and get all the extra stuff. But
oh, yeah, like go all the way back through each world and try and find all the bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is Metroidvania in that, now I have Force push, so I can push these things out of the way.
Gotcha.
I imagine there's several others, like your droid gets upgrades where he can open new doors for you, that type of thing.
Right.
But I don't know. For the most part, I'm liking it. I keep trying that one planet that I just immediately die on. Like,
am I ready now? Whoops, nope.
Yeah, I need to stop because it's what makes me quit playing the game. Like, I'll go to it and be like, oh, come on, just let me. Why are you giving me the option to go here if it's this hard?
Right.
But I don't know. I look forward to playing more. I hear it's funny. Like, all my friends are like, dude, you have to wait on getting this game. It's super short. It's only like 12 hours. And I'm like, that's what
Hallelujah.
I want.
Yeah. Thank goodness. I can
where I'm
finish
at
it.
in life. Give me a 12-hour game. I'd be all right if it was 6 hours, man.
I saw someone leverage a complaint. We'll talk about Persona 5 Royal in the news stories. But I saw someone leverage a complaint. Someone said, like, oh, is there new content or is it just like a re-release with like a Game of the Year edition? And they're like, it has some new content, but it's only like 30 or 40 hours. It's not worth the new money. I was like, I'm sorry. I mean, your expectations might be out of whack.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Dang youth people and all their perceived free time. Your time isn't free then either. You just don't realize it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I still think the game's hard on Jedi Knight difficulty, but I like the game. I think I would roughly recommend it. I don't know if I'd recommend it at $60, but I'm not like a huge Star Wars geek either. I probably like have the knowledge to be a huge Star Wars geek. I'm just not quite in love with the franchise as much as other people are.
Right.
But I'm still enjoying it. It's probably the first Star Wars video game I've really liked playing since
KOTOR?
Yeah. It's been a while, man.
Yeah.
Poor LucasArts getting shut down. Or whatever happened with them. Let's see. I also picked up Torchlight 2 in early November or mid-November or something like that. I was just in a place where I was incredibly broke. Like, we'd had a bunch of car stuff and whatnot I won't get into. But basically, Torchlight 2 is like $15 on Switch. I'm like, you know what? I can just plug this in on my Switch and sit in bed and watch TV and read it. And that sounds wonderful.
Yep. Yeah.
So, if you somehow haven't played Torchlight 2, it's a Diablo type game. Looking down, you pick one of, I think, 4 classes, and you have a... I mean, I guess it technically is a skill tree. Just the UI doesn't present it as such. You know, it's more like a skill book that all the skills have various levels you pump points into. So I picked the engineer because it's what I do.
It's a fun class.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you get a character who can have a giant wrench that they hit things with.
Yep.
Right.
And it's also like, I don't know if the other classes get any summons or not, but I like having the summons.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
What
just
pet did you get?
Yeah.
What pet did you pick?
Oh,
this is important to me.
I got... Oh, I'm going blank. What the heck did I get?
Sorry if anyone can hear this in the background. My printer decided to just start printing out of nowhere.
I'm not going to be
Did you get like a ferret, a bird?
There's like a dog and a cat, I think, are the options.
And there's a llama, I think.
There's a llama. Sold.
They have a head crab from Half-Life in it.
That's great.
Which I wasn't expecting to show up on Switch.
Yeah.
I don't think I got any of those things, though. What the heck did I get? They have a honey badger. They have 2 dogs. They have like a wolf dog and a pit bull.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did I get? Oh, I got the polar bear.
Oh,
okay.
there you go.
That was adorable.
That's a good choice.
Yeah. They have like 3
I like Torchlight 2 a lot. I feel like when it came out, I felt like it was a lighter experience than maybe Diablo 3 was, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, and I will comment on that in a moment.
Okay.
Speaking of the other game I've been playing, I also played Diablo 3, but yeah, like in some ways, I'll comment on that right now. In some ways I agree with that, and in some ways I don't. Like,
yeah.
I still don't like the way, gosh, I have such mixed feelings on Diablo's handling of skills. Like, they're cool skills, but I'm too in love with Diablo 2, guys. I like the Diablo 2 skill tree. I don't like how unforgiving in terms of assigning points to things it is. Like, I wish there was a reset button. So, like, the idea is, like, it's player friendly, but to me kind of incredulous of, you're just going to give me all the skills and I can just pick them one at a time? And
yeah, I can just have them all.
It's, I don't know. I don't know if my response may just be straight up illogical and me being curmudgeonly about it, but
well, but I feel like Diablo 2 was such a cornerstone for so many of us for so long that it's, especially when Torchlight 2 does so much similar with its skill tree. Then I feel like it's they're 2 different approaches to the same problem, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely Torchlight 2 is like for the people that really wanted more Diablo 2, that's go play that. Don't, that's the way to go if you really want more Diablo 2 experience.
That's true. Yeah.
Man, I hope I know they announced they were doing that remaster of Diablo 2. I doubt they'll put it on Switch, but gosh, that would be awesome. That would make my day.
Yeah. Yeah. They haven't even announced Diablo 4 for Switch, so I'm curious to see if 2 will come to Switch.
I bet the poor Switch is going to be left behind technology-wise with a lot of new releases once PS5 and Xbox One 2 come out.
Yeah, that seems to be the concern for some multi-platform stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but anywho, Torchlight 2 I still think is a fantastic game. I think for $15 you can't go wrong. I do wish it had couch player co-op because my wife likes these games. Which, cue the next game. Which is exactly why we got Diablo 3.
Right.
Because it was a game I know, like, we played, I can't remember. She always wants to play, like, Left 4 Dead, and I am burnt the hell out of Left 4 Dead. Even after all these years. Like, we sat down and played it the other night, and it was fine. But with some birthday money, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. It's $40. It's going to take years for it to go down to 20, which is what I want to pay for Diablo 3.
Right.
So I just got it. And I rolled up the Necromancer, and she went with the Sorceress, and she's just spent the entire time regretting not doing a Necromancer as well. I forget, like, how rude all the player characters are in Diablo, and, like, it's amazing to me still just how much even more of a jerk the Necromancer is.
Yeah, Necromancer doesn't care at all. It's great.
He is such, it cracks me up. But so I picked that one because I always like getting I like making the AI do my work when possible, which I realize makes it not a game to some people, but I just adore when games do that for me.
Well, that's just your build. I think that's the cool thing about games like this, is where it's like you can either have something where you're really in the mix and action oriented, or you can have a summon build. Like, that's what I usually do with my Demon Hunter, is I usually have a summon build.
The Laura Bailey.
Yeah.
Demon Hunter?
I play the Witch Doctor, but I have a very specific build. It's called the Chicken build.
Okay.
And it's pretty much based around pressing only one button.
Mm-hmm.
And you basically go into a chicken, and then you just run around, and then you unchicken, and then you explode everything. It's a very amazing build.
Interesting.
It's actually based more on movement speed than any other stat, because you spread a bunch of poisons, and whenever you activate a hex, which is going into a chicken activates a hex, that's when you start adding on the damage. And then when you finish the chicken, you explode. And the way the chicken explosion works is if you kill something in the explosion, then they explode, and then they explode, and then they explode. So all you do is run around as a chicken for about 10 to 12 seconds. I don't remember. And you just run and run and run and spread your poison and disease, and then you unchickenify and explode everything. And it has the maximum amount of pets. So I've got 8 or 9 pets swarming me, and they're just running around attacking everything while I'm just in my chicken form, just running around in a circle doing nothing. It's really good in those what is it called? Is it the grifts?
The rifts.
The greater rifts. Me and a demon hunter went into one together, and we got one that was just one giant long hallway.
Yeah.
And there was 2 other people that were with us, but they could not keep up with our speed, because I'm just chicken forming, and I'm just
doing the chicken sprint
forward. And then the demon hunter is literally right beside me, just roll,
right,
rolling next to me the entire way.
Man.
And pretty much we left the other 2 people that joined us in the dust. But
Man.
Yeah, that's a weird fun build.
I'm gonna have to mention that to my wife. She opted for the weird, I guess they have aesthetic stuff. So I barely played this game, and most of what I played of this game was years ago. So the Switch version came with some pets or something. I don't think they do anything. They just follow you around.
Some Zelda stuff too.
Yeah. So she's opted for having a chicken follow her around. So I feel like her disappointment with the Sorcerer's class, maybe I should try and sell her on the Witch Doctor after you said that.
Yeah.
The Demon Hunter, I know, gets, what is it, a bird or something?
You can do a wolf and a raven and a ferret.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, a spider.
So the Witch Doctor has, a bunch of little, I don't know, totem little whatever dudes, and then also a giant spider, Black Widow looking spider, and I'm forgetting some other like voodoo creature thing,
like an
giant
abomination
voodoo.
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like mine aren't cute pets, but
Right.
listen, they're cute to me.
Right.
I have some weird golem thing like that follows me around, and I just recently gotten the golem summon or whatever it's called, the thing after the skeletons you get that you can choose.
Yeah, whatever that's called.
And I'm pretty sure they're the same thing. It's just my pet is like a tiny version of it.
Are you guys playing the current season that just started, or are you playing just kind of the story mode?
When we made characters, it asked us if we wanted to be season characters, and I Googled it, and it just said, oh, you just have to make a new character, and after the season, they become your regular character. So it's like, okay, that's fine. So we both opted for that.
Okay, yeah, because the thing that I think is really great about seasons, this is season 19, I think.
Oh my god, is that many?
It's a lot. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I play for probably like a week or two every season, and I didn't realize what number it was. But the great thing about the season is they have the seasonal challenges, and once you hit level 70, basically you complete a category of relatively pretty easy challenges, and it gives you every category gives you 2 pieces of your legendary set, your green set, that has like the set bonuses on it. So pretty quickly you can get a good character and then get a really cool gear set that it might not be your build, but at the very least it can help you to start getting more gear that's perfect for your build. So it's fun, and each season has a fun sort of mechanic to it. This one is it's called the Season of Pandemonium, I think, and they have kill streak bonuses this time, where it's like you kill 10 enemies in a kill streak, and it's explosive chickens come out, and like 50 these explosive volleys come out of you, and it goes all the way up to 1,000, and 1,000 is a sort of secret thing that's really great. But this season so far has been pretty good. I'm glad you started a seasonal character, because I think that's some of the most fun stuff. And then at the end of the season, it just moves that character into your normal roster, like with all of its gear and all of its stash stuff. So there's really no downside to it.
Cool. That's appealing. How long does the season last usually?
About 3 months.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We are still in Act 1 or whatever they're called in this Diablo.
Yeah.
I think we just killed the Skeleton King again.
Right.
Which got me thinking, like, is this the same Skeleton King that you killed in the first game? Like,
right.
All
Does he
these
just keep coming back?
Yeah. I'm constantly amazed they find like more story to add on to these things, but then I remember, oh right, the first game didn't have a ton of story. Like,
no, it's just like Diablo's bad. He's at the bottom of this dungeon. Go nuts.
Occasionally find weird little side story stuff. Okay,
yeah.
This is the thing to ask you guys. So I know they remade at least part of Diablo 1 in this engine. Like,
yeah, they did. Yeah.
When is that accessible?
January. It starts like at the beginning of January for it's like 2 or 3 weeks. They call it like the Shadow of Tristram or something like that. It'll pop up in game saying, hey, by the way, this new thing appeared. And I think in New Tristram, the Act 1 town, in adventure mode, they'll let you basically teleport over there, and then it's basically like a 20 or 30 floor dungeon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it add any of like the old side quests into it? Like
there's some of that stuff, like the butcher shows up on like floor 2 or something. You fight old pixel Diablo on like floor 30, something like that. So it's fun, amazing. And it looks like Diablo 1, like they put a pixel filter over it, so you can only move in 8 directions. Like it's pretty faithful.
That's fun. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're really like, to me, this game always shines with the couch co-op stuff, and it's always fun playing my stuff with the wife. But I'll tell you, like, we don't own a second Switch controller at all, so we're splitting the nunchuck, or they're not called nunchucks, are they? They're called
the Joy-Cons.
Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
Cons, yeah.
And that is a weird experience. It's like to equip, press in the stick and press up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's a bit different. It is
Well, and those
doable.
pro controllers are so expensive.
That's the
I just got the little thing that you
Oh,
can
the
just
dog face
chunk
thing?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can chunk it.
But I mean, whether we
That's
get
how
the
I
Pro
prefer it.
controller or like another set of Joy-Cons, like it's still, we're out $80.
70, 80 bucks. Yeah.
It's a lot, yeah.
And I just
Yeah.
know the second we spend the money, my wife is going to lose interest in the game. Like I could,
Or like they're discounted to $40, permanently. It's like, oh, cool. I spent twice that. All right.
that's a good
Yeah.
point. This is the season to look for a sale like that. Not that I can
Yeah, that's true.
afford it at the moment, but
Right.
I will inevitably get Christmas money.
There you go.
Let's see. On top of that stuff, like I kind of had. So I wasn't going to spend all my birthday money on games. I was going to spend some of it on bills. And my initial
There's
goal.
so many good games.
Yeah. My initial goal was to buy Fire Emblem Three Houses. And
Right.
this is one of the stupidest things I've done in my life. I went and bought it. I let it download. I came back and, oh no, that says Fire Emblem Warriors.
Oh, no.
No.
And then it turned into, you know what? I'm not going to spend the rest of this birthday money on bills. I'm going to buy all these games, which is so I went and bought Fire Emblem Three Houses on top of that. And that's also when I got Diablo 3, by the way. So it was just a really weak moment in my spending life. And I still haven't
That's
played
great.
Fire Emblem Warriors. It's kind of depressing seeing that icon. I'm sure it's a good game, but
Right. That's not the one you wanted.
yeah. So Fire Emblem Three Houses, I haven't put a ton of time into it. I'm very much still in the tutorial area of the game. And I keep trying to like remind myself. Mina said, this is nothing like Persona. Quit comparing it to
Not
Persona
like-
in your
it's
head.
not like
Josh.
Right.
Persona.
And it's because it's hurting the game with me actively like
Don't
making that
don't
comparison.
just think of it as a Fire Emblem game with a Harry Potter flair to
Yeah.
it.
There you
and
go.
then You'll feel better about it.
Well, and I really like the graphics. The story I don't know about yet. I like the whole teacher aspect. And that does, like, that's another thought that keeps lingering in my head is, man, that'd be cool if they made a Persona game where you're the teacher of class.
Right. Right.
And, like, you just have this weird study group that you manage or something like that.
Yeah.
But not that they're ever going to make an adult a protagonist of a Persona game, but
Right.
Not
maybe
ever
maybe a
again.
spin-off.
did they? Oh, yeah, I guess they had that Persona 2 If,
Persona 2 if
Yeah.
or whatever. That's not the right name, is it?
Innocent Sin.
Innocent Sin.
Innocent Sin.
Yeah.
Okay.
One with Maya
Yeah.
and her what is her name? Oh no, the
Wait.
trainer chick and the police officer. I don't remember their names.
I don't remember.
Eternal Punishment. Innocent Sin was original in
Innocent
Persona
was the
2.
yes, and then Eternal Punishment was the second one.
Right.
Yeah. But
And it had nothing but adults as your party members.
I have to go back and play those games. Like,
Yeah.
Persona 2, I actually, like, it was old, but I still was really enjoying it. But it still was definitely a game I should have been playing with a, like, walkthrough.
Yes.
But, like, that rumor system was just too cool. Anyway, so Fire Emblem Three Houses. So just, where do I start on this game?
Which house did you pick?
Black Eagles. I think that's
Okay.
what they're called. The one with Lady Edelgard. Edel something.
Yep.
I don't know. They were the magic ones. They're in all black. They didn't seem like they had one guy who's kind of a prick that's in there who's I don't remember his name. I'm not gonna have any of their names. Like I've been lecturing myself.
Ferdinand?
That seems right. The guy who's always
Something like
kissing
that.
Lady Edelgard's
Sure.
but like I just saw a scene so like they do the calendar thing with that game and you'll reach a day and they'll be like, okay, you can free roam or do a battle or something else, and
Yeah.
I did free roam and did all my stuff and then found a menu where I guess I can watch the characters interact with each other and improve their relationship status. And there was one with Ferdinand and this other guy who the other guy's going to be, I guess, prime minister of their country or something like that someday.
Okay, so that guy is Ferdinand. The guy that you're thinking of that's the prick. He's the guy with the black hair that's covering like part of his face. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, like he's like telling the like it's funny like you watch the scene and like the one guy's like telling the prime minister kid, you forget your place, you forget your station, you're never going to be better than Lady Edelgard, you're a noble, she's going to be the empress, blah blah blah. And the guy's like, yeah, but my job's going to be to advise her, like I have to be prepared for when she advises. And it's just like them at each other's throats, and then the scene ends and it's like relationship improved. I'm like, what?
Politics.
Did I do something wrong?
Right.
And then I watched I guess at certain points after using these guys in battles, they just get these cutscenes with each other that they can have or something.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on this game. I'm not too fond of working for the it's always funny see like talking about churches in fantasy video games, since they have literal deities that they can point to in the world. But right. I still feel like I'm working for like the Catholic Church, like
right
during their reign in Middle Ages Europe or something.
Right.
So I'm constantly like, I don't like these people. Now this lady wants me to go kill these people for defying the church, and I don't.
Yeah,
not into that.
Maybe they'll have a story path for me, maybe they won't. But
yeah.
And then there's a green-haired girl who appears in my head, who I'm assuming turns into a dragon at some point in the game. I'm pretty sure all little.
It's Fire Emblem, so.
But the last so not counting Tokyo Mirage sessions, the last Fire Emblem game I really put time into would have been like the one on Wii, which I never remember the name of, which is also completely different than
Radiant Dawn.
That's one of them. Like one of them is Radiant Dawn, and then there's
the
another one.
I don't
remember that one at all.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And it's super weird because like the sequel to one of them stars like these side characters, or maybe Ike's in them both too. I have no idea, but I really liked that one back in the day. I don't know.
Three Houses is more in line with the. So they found Cash Money going down with the 3DS Awakening.
Yeah.
And once they realized, dude, we can make a ton of money off of this, they were like, we need to make this again. Right. So then they made, it again. And so like basically Three Houses is like, it's like, Persona 1 and Persona 2 were a thing, but then Persona 3 hit and they were like, dude,
this is it.
This sold. This is it.
We found it.
We need to make this.
Yeah.
Make things that line up with this. So that's what happened. So you're playing a Fire Emblem that has branched from basically a Persona 3 type world where, Fire Emblem Awakening made so much money. They were like, we got to keep making it like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
well,
yeah.
Like, I like the idea of being the teacher, and I like the weird teaching mechanic thing they send you through. Like, it's part of me's paranoid because I'm like, oh, I need to be looking up what the best things to do with who on what day are, and like a part of me's like, no, just don't do that. You're gonna stop playing the game.
Don't bother. You'll get so powerful that like you don't need to worry about that. I don't think it's possible for you to make the game to the point where you can't, proceed unless
you can't play it
on the
wrong,
hardest
really.
difficulty. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
unless you're playing on the hardest difficulty, and then maybe you could probably make things real bad for you in a way.
Yeah.
Which I don't think you're doing.
Yeah. So far it's pretty easy. Like I thought about putting it on a harder difficulty because I had heard it was easy, but I'm like, this is a long game. Let's just go through it on easy, see what it's about, and then maybe I'll go back and do one of the other paths or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're on the easiest difficulty, then you can also, there's like unlimited, there's a stage you can usually do that has unlimited battles. So worst comes to worst, if you somehow really put yourself in a bad way, it's like the final day before the moon is full and you can just grind and grind and grind till your heart's content. So I don't you'll be fine.
Gotcha. It's so something else that cracked me up about this game, like it was a spaceship blowing up at the beginning of the game, short of being like a Xenogears type thing, like with that.
I was gonna say, like, what is the Xenogears?
Like the intro cutscene is like these two wars going on, and this lady who's swearing revenge on this guy for killing another people, and then ends, and that seems to have no context with anything that I'm doing right now.
Right, for like 50 more hours.
Yeah.
So the church that you're working for, they revere that that lady was, I guess, supposedly like a goddess or whatever. And so basically that's the church that follows her.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
That's what that had to do with, kind of. There's more to it, but
okay.
That's where it mainly connects to.
I figured. I've been looking suspiciously at all the green-haired characters in the game, going like,
there's so many green-haired characters.
Are you related? Are you that same person at
Which
the beginning?
one's the dragon?
Is this little girl talking in my head a reincarnation of the lady at the beginning? Is the lady at the beginning really the bad guy?
Right.
But it's I don't know. I'm at the very beginning. I'm enjoying it so far. It's just finding time to play it for a while. There's a lot of running around the monastery area, which that whole map is a little confusing to me, and like it's also kind of like monastery is kind of bland looking, so it all kind of bleeds together in my head. So I'm just slowly learning where the stuff is. I'm trying to fish whenever I have bait, because that doesn't seem like it uses up time.
Fishing in an RPG always has to lead to something good. So
well, it gives you teacher XP.
Yeah,
and so that's really useful, because the more teacher XP you get, the more time you have during the free roam.
Gotcha.
Like you get way more free roam time, and also you can get more adjuncts. I don't know how to say that word right, but that's where you can have like somebody like be paired up with you. So if you max that out, I believe you get a total of like 3 adjuncts you can add to the group, so you can have like 3 people pair up with 3 other party members, and that's a good way to like kind of boost their XP. Like if you have somebody who falls behind, you're just like, all right, slot you in with the main character.
Right.
Now you're going to get a ton of XP because you're about to be fed.
Gotcha.
Right.
So, and it also, like, you know how you were running into those relationship type things. So if you have somebody paired up, that boosts their relationship if they're fighting together.
Gotcha.
So
Well,
that's a fast way to build up that.
Yeah, and just I guess for the audience and maybe you, Boston, I don't know how much you know about the game, but like when you hit the teaching screen, like you get like a certain amount of points that you can work with individual students on certain skills. You get to choose a pair of students to go do a group activity like she was just talking about together, and right now I can have them do like a flight patrol on like Pegasus or Wyverns, I assume. There's a gardening one, and then there's a I don't remember, like guard duty or something.
Brushing horses.
Yeah, that's it. And you'll get a little cutscene with them kind of. So far, it's just been one character commenting on it and the other character being silent in my cutscenes. And I don't know if that's the characters I've chosen or if that's normal. But and then you get like, you can do a lecture, and then you can have like a guest speaker from one of the other teachers. And it's I really like that whole setup a lot.
that sounds cool.
That system gets even better later on.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
So like, until you get to that point later on, a lot of the stuff that you're going through has kind of like this is like a peek at what it's really like later.
Gotcha. Well, that teaching system is my favorite part of the game so far, even though it's less game and more decisions and pressing the go button. But I mean, and I like the combat too, of course, a lot. But I barely, I probably put an hour and a half in the game, maybe 2 hours, and had like maybe 2 or 3 combat deals, and they weren't really challenging at all. So combat looks cool, but anyway, that's probably about all I can say about the game right now. You have any tips for me, Mina?
Make sure that you level basically enough different types of things. Like you want some archers, you want some mages, you know, and especially look out for really good skills later down the trees. Like things that like give you like boost to like defense or something like vantage, or like there's a lot of really good abilities out there that you really want to eyeball. There's too many to count, but
Okay.
I remember one of the fights I got into, I had an ability that like basically makes so you don't take an action but you super heal, and it's like just a defensive like shield heal like sort of thing.
Oh wow.
And so I had it attached to my main character for some reason. I don't remember why. And I got into this really, really tough fight later on, and all my units died except for my main unit. And I was just like, this is an impossible, like, how am I found out later I did that fight completely wrong. But the main thing that happened was I was able to fight it, but the thing was, I was like, well, you know, I'm going to die before I beat this thing. Like I can, like I'm slowly whittling it down. Like, oh, I'm knocking 5% health every single time my character attacks. And I was like, oh well, yeah, I have this shield heal thing. How much does it even heal? Heals me to full. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, there we go.
So this is a war attrition basically.
Yeah.
I'm just going to like, you know, hold my shield up, full heal. Okay, poke, shield, poke. But you have to realize I had been in that fight for like 20 minutes battling all this other stuff, and I finally got to the main guy, and I was like, I'm too stubborn at this point.
Right, like I'm in the end.
I'm just like, I don't care if this is going to take forever. I'm going to win it this way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, like, there's some really good abilities that you can learn down the trees. Oh, that's another thing. Oh. So you can buy like those what do you call them?
The crests?
The little crests things that unlock jobs or whatever. You can only attempt to unlock a job once per, you know, whatever weekend or whatever it is. So make sure you attempt.
Oh, okay.
Don't waste like the big time ones or whatever, like the more advanced ones. But like for the little piddly like beginner seals or whatever, unlock all of that. And you really just want to like get those unlocked, because some of them give like stat upgrades, like just straight up, okay, now your character gets a straight up stat upgrade for unlocking that job.
So
or whatever.
On those, like I think I did one round of it with two characters who had reached a skill level where it said they'd have 100% chance unlocking whatever job. So are you saying like don't even wait for that to be 100%, just go ahead and do it?
Dude, I always had enough money. So like on the cheap ones, like I think they're 500 gold for the beginner seals or whatever. If it had like a 33% chance, I was like, I'm going for it. Like I'll go for it.
If it's double digits, let's try.
Let's go.
Did you do any save scrumming to...
I mean, you can, but I just kind of was like YOLO. So,
Yeah.
but if it's like one of the bigger seals that are like, you'll slowly unlock more seals as you go like later in the month. So like you start out with only being able to buy like maybe like 3 intermediate seals or something like that. Those at the start just kind of be like, okay, I'm going to be very careful with these. I'm going to wait for it to be like, you know, 100% or 97% or whatever. And if you want to save scrum those, you know, go ahead like that. But like at a certain point, it's going to be like, okay, the limit's off on intermediate seals. You can buy as many of those as you want. And then the advanced seals, it's like, okay, you can only buy like 1 or 3 of these a month. And then it's like, okay, those I'm going to be very careful about. Like, I'm going to wait till I am a surefire going to get it. But otherwise, like, if the only thing preventing you is money,
just
attempt
go nuts.
away.
Yeah.
Go nuts. Like,
Yeah.
Gotcha. Good to know. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like, I really liked that they had like a class tree like that, because I don't know if Awakenings had class trees, but before I thought a Fire Emblem like a Shining
did.
Force thing where you just level a character up to like level 20 and then you do their switch out to whatever their next class is.
Right.
Awakening had the same sort of Well, I guess this one's more in line with the what is the other one? Gosh, I'm Fates. This one's more like Fates. But
Yeah.
Awakening had like, anybody could go anywhere. So I like this one's a little more restrictive, and like certain people only want to go certain ways. But the thing is if you want to unlock like all the like premier like really good jobs, you have to start working on skills like that's a good point. Horseback flying armor. You need to get like on those immediately as possible, like train them for that, because like all the advanced tier classes, like they're almost all locked behind those.
Okay.
So later on down the line, you're going to be like, man, I really need to get on some like horseback thing. And that's the thing is if you have somebody who's like well trained in like horseback riding or whatever, that person can train everybody else in horseback riding.
Okay.
So like I always trained the main character to be like, really good at everything and just be like, I'm teaching y'all everything.
Right.
Some people are more susceptible to learning certain classes over others. Like some of them are going to be like, I really like Pegasus. I really hate armor. You'll also see like there's some people that have like, negatives. But there's like a little icon or something. I don't remember it now off the top of my head, but there's like a little icon next to the negative or whatever, I think. And that's like they have negatives, but once you get to a certain point, it goes into a positive because they unlock some special skill.
Oh, interesting.
I don't remember who on the Black Eagles has that, because I kind of I did not go down that route, but
Which house did you join?
The Golden Deer, the one with the smooth talker.
That's the one I would have done if I hadn't done the black. Like I was a little worried that all the Black Eagles people would wind up being super evil, and they may
just
still
slithering
be,
over there.
But
I mean, the stories are so like I would say the first part of the game, the stories are all pretty similar, and then you get to a point where like the stories are so different, and I've gotten into arguments with people on their opinion on whichever house, because I disagree strongly with the other houses.
Gotcha.
So I am Golden Deer for life. I don't want to go any other path.
Right.
do they have Save Game Plus?
Yes, they do actually. I believe like you actually carry over like a certain amount of stuff. I know like there's you've gotten to the statue things where you can upgrade the statues or whatever.
I have not.
Did you get to that part? Okay, so there's like a part where you can like kind of like do a small boost to like passives or whatever. Like you'll see the 4 statues. There's like a side quest that makes you do it, I think. And I know that 100% carries over into the next game. And then I believe like I believe there's something like you get some sort of you get like points that basically you can carry over to like relearn things that your people have already learned on previous paths or something like that. I don't remember. So it like that stuff carries over.
Gotcha.
So it's generally an easier experience the second time around.
So it kind of functions more like a Tales game in a way.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
A little more Tales and not like a true like you get 100% of everything back and
that's fine.
Go at it again.
Yeah, like that would determine like whether I check out the other paths or not, and it's also going to be like you get so many dialogue options, and I don't know if any of them, like how much, if any, story impact any of the ones I am doing. Like it's you go into one of these games paranoid about this, and like the second question you're asked in the game is, oh, well, whose house do you like better? And you're like, I just met you people. What are you talking about?
Right?
Right.
So I would say that, like, most dialogue options are not meaningful in choosing them besides getting, like, a small little, affection boost. However, there is going to be, like, 2 very important options on the Black Eagle path. Like, 2 very important ones. Like, story, worlds breaking level of like,
Gotcha.
you pick these options and you're going on a very different story.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
So you'll know it too. Like, I think so. I am pretty sure that like it pretty much lays down like this is going, like, something's going
This is
down
an important
here.
choice.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but like the other paths do not get that choice. But like, so
Interesting.
just be aware.
Okay.
Huge choice
Okay. Good to
Yeah.
know.
coming in your future.
Good to know. I figured, like, with the setup they have now, with the 3 different kingdoms having kids in the school, and those being the first
Right,
characters
that
you met,
seems
at some point,
volatile.
there's going to be a schism there. Like, as my general assumption, I feel like that is a safe assumption to make. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Got like a future empress, a prince. Well, technically, I believe he's even like they call him a prince, but I think he's actually like basically king because he is the heir, and there's no one above him. Like his parents are dead, so he's technically a king. And then you have the dashing rogue guy who's basically running a democracy of a bunch of different like smaller cities underneath whatever. He's going to be like the future president or whatever of that. So you have all of them, and you know that like basically like I believe one of the countries used to possess like all of them, and then you've got like basically like, you know, there's clearly schisms that existed long before you got involved.
Yeah. Well, and I knew going into it, like, I'm just always going to hate this blonde-haired kid. Like, there's something about him that bothers me.
I just don't like him.
Which one?
I don't remember his house name, but the Paladin Knight house, the blonde-haired kid that's the head of it.
Oh, Dimitri?
I have no idea what his name is.
Yeah, I think the king or prince or whatever we want to call him.
Like, it's taken a lot of effort for me to remember the name Edelgard. So,
Right.
and I might be still
Just
beginning
call her
it wrong.
Mitsuru. Just call her Mitsuru.
Mitsuru.
There you go.
You know, that's probably...
Because that's the voice actress.
and the personality's not all that off either so far.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I know, right? I heard her voice and I was like, oh, hi, Mitsuru.
Right.
What are you doing
My ice
here?
queen.
Dude, they have so many recognizable voice actors in here. Like, someone, like,
Yeah.
some B no-named character said something, I'm like, is that Professor Farnsworth?
Right.
Anyway, I'll probably be talking about it next month. So it's you have reinvigorated me. Like, I was already like finally getting to a point where I was starting to enjoy the game and stop running it over the coals with the Persona comparison stuff. So
Yeah, I don't like that comparison because it's so not applicable.
yeah, it's such a completely different feel. Like, I get what people say with like the monastery area and like managing a calendar and time, but they're going for...
There's so many games out there that have that, though. You can't, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're really going for night and day differences of things between these two. And I just don't think mechanically it's a healthy comparison. But
Yeah.
last but not least, I've played a game, The Outer Worlds, and I beat it.
Me
You
too.
beat
I
it.
beat it.
Ah, you guys beat it. No.
It was far shorter than I expected, which I am way into for a game that encourages that much replayability.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to replay it anytime soon, but I really enjoyed the time I spent with it. It's
Yeah.
I think you commented the other month that you felt Monarch was too long, and I 100% agree with that.
Monarch being that long sort of started to suck the fun of the game out for me, and I think part of it is that Monarch itself as a planet is longer than the starting planet, which I don't think is inherently bad, but I think as you're going throughout Monarch, you start getting so many of the companion quests for everybody in your party sort of as you go on, and I think each one of those companion quests has a number of steps to them, and I think both of those things together started to feel a little bit overwhelming to me. I think if they had parceled out the companion stuff a little bit better, I think that would have made me feel better. But I think by the time I finished Monarch, and I wasn't happy with the decisions I made, and it's I want to word that correctly, that it's not the game gave me the outcome that I chose, and I wasn't happy with my choices, and that wasn't the game's fault. It was just I made one bad mistake where it's like, this lady's like, hey, I need you to go to this place and you have to do something different for another person. And while you're there, keep an eye out for the people I sent there. They haven't reported back. I was like, yeah, sure. That sounds great. I can do that. Whatever. I'm going there anyway. When I get there, I run into a group of people that I didn't realize was the group that she had sent there. So I'm like, hey man, why don't you come into this location with me and help me clear it out? They immediately die, like as soon as they step in the doorway. Now she's angry, and I can't. She's angry at me because those people died, which is fair. But then that means I couldn't get the ending where I reconcile everybody on the planet, because her storyline gets locked out because I let her people die. It's like, okay,
sucks. That's too
it's
bad,
like,
man.
Yeah, it's like I'm not that upset because it only took me like 15 hours to get through the game. So I'm like I could just do it the quote unquote right way the next playthrough. But it was a little bit frustrating that I couldn't make everybody happy because there was something that I felt was a little bit unclear. But it's one of those things where it's not like I'm not going to roll back a couple hours to choose. But I think combining that with the fact that the build I went for with my character was very much not a shooty bang bang character. It was very much a talking scientist, medicine, hacking sort of character. Made the last 2 or 3 planets just a cakewalk. Like, I can talk my way through everything. I only had to fight like the very last boss, and that was it. I could sort of talk my way out of anything else. So the end of the game kind of rocketed its way past, which is sort of exciting. But I think I started that game really excited for Outer Worlds and playing it, and I finished that game pretty ready to be done with it. And I think most of that is getting ready for Game of the Year stuff. And it's sort of like, all right, I have to finish this so I can put it in my top 10 list. And it's a little bit, I should have just finished it all at one go. So that's on me. That
makes sense. Yeah. Like I do wish the game was the smaller environments. Like I feel like it really would have benefited. Like, so I've been describing this as like Mass Effect and Fallout had a baby.
Yep.
And I wish it leaned a little bit closer to Mass Effect in some of the areas, and especially in terms of like collecting items and weapons and things. Like after a while, I got really tired of, because I'm going to grab everything in a room. Like I'm going to steal everything in the room. I don't care how poor they are. Please quit putting this stuff everywhere. So I have to.
And like after a couple hours in the game for me, like I just stopped picking up anything. Like if it wasn't the healing item, Ardino, or whatever that thing is called. If it wasn't that healing item and it wasn't ammo, I wasn't picking up anything. Or like if there was a weapon that's like a Mark II or Mark III, like the clearly better version of the weapon I'm using, I'll pick that up. But otherwise, like I'm just, you guys can have that stuff. I don't need some purple punch you got hanging out in this box over here.
Well, I do, and I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to put it in my refrigerator in the ship because it goes there. Yep. And I want my crew to have things to do.
Entertain them a little bit, yeah.
Not that they ever used any of that stuff, but
right.
I do wish, like, it's funny, like, the amount of, like, weird stats and ailment, like, items you can take and eat, and all I ever did was use the heals.
Yeah, me too.
It's, in a way, I feel like, I know the game gets criticized for just doing exactly what other games has done, even though that's technically 99% of video games that have ever been made. But like, to me, they really went for something new, and they just couldn't, like, they went for something new by trying to mash these things together that hadn't really been necessarily together before, and they couldn't really figure out what elements they actually needed and didn't need. And I'd expect we'd see some shifting around and whatnot for the inevitable sequel that I hope this gets.
And I do have to say, even though I maybe wasn't 100% feeling the game, I think it's a really great game, and I think it's one of the better RPGs I've played in a long time, because Obsidian takes all those pieces and all that inspiration from so many franchises we like and sort of makes a new Mass Effect or makes a new Dragon Age. You know, they take that foundation, that skeleton of what makes those games so great, and they put the Obsidian twist on it where you are making choices and those genuinely matter. Like, you can't just, like, slip somebody $100 and they're like, oh, now I can be friends with everyone. All right. It's like, no, you made these choices over the storyline in this planet, so you did X, Y, and Z, so you got to live with them. And I think that's really great. And I largely had a lot of fun with it, and I can absolutely recommend it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you feel that way about it. And I could see if I was still doing the Game of the Year thing, I would, especially in Monarch, I'd be like, this thing's got to hurry up and end. Right,
like let's keep moving. Yeah, and like some of the last couple planets are very short, which is fine, but it just feels like there's this long. It's like chapter 3 in Death Stranding. If anybody listening has played that, it's very short here on the bookends, and then there's this yawning 20-hour chapter, and then the rest of it sort of rapid fire ends. And I feel like that's what Monarch was in Outer Worlds. It's like there's so much here that maybe the storyline could have been shortened a little bit, or another planet could have happened here, but it's fine. It's Obsidian games always have to have something that's a little weird in them, and I think Monarch's length respective to the rest of it is a little weird.
Well, and your comments on the companion quests, you know, come to think of it, like, the stories for the companion quests I thought were all great.
Yes.
Actually running through the companion quests were not great. Like,
yeah, it's a lot of like, go to this building and pick up this book. Okay, cool. Now go to this other planet and go kill this guy. And it's like, okay, like the load times on my Xbox are not speedy. Yeah. Let me just go right there.
Like, Parvati's was kind of the worst offender in the go to these completely different places, and
yeah, at least her story was good.
Yeah, it like even like the Vicar Max or whatever the heck his name is, like I didn't really like him, but I really enjoyed going through the end of his freaking companion quest, which I won't.
Yeah,
I will refrain from spoiling for you, Mina.
Yeah, he had a good character arc.
Yeah. But I don't know. So what's your take, Mina?
I've been enjoying it. I have not gone to Monarch yet. I think that's my next destination, so that's delightful.
Like, it's not bad. It's just long.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. It's just longer.
Maybe I'll take like a break in between there instead of trying to like just, you know, complete it all in one sitting and exhaust myself.
Yeah. I would say it's like two or three sessions instead of one really long one.
But that'll probably be a good way to go about it. I really like the characters. I know that this game gets compared to Fallout a lot, and I can understand why. On one hand, I can see why. Like, I'm not blind as to why people would, you know, compare it. But it does feel, I think when you said like Mass Effect meets Fallout, I was like, that's pretty dang close. Yeah, that would be it.
Yeah.
But I'm having a lot of fun with this. I didn't play blah, blah, blah. I didn't pay a dime for it because some sort of like Microsoft.
It's on
thing.
Game Pass.
Yeah, I don't even like. I was like, what even is a Game Pass? I've been out of it for a while. I'm old. So like, for some reason, Microsoft was like, hey, you get a free Game Pass for the next, I don't know how many months, 3 months or something like that. They're like, use it. And I was like, I guess. And so I was like, what's even on the Game Pass? I was like, Outer Worlds. I'm like, well, I guess I'll go.
I could play that
for the cost of $0. I think I can,
You talked me into it. Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got into that. Yusum, was that the end of your games? Because I just remembered one out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, so I did not play a lot of games because the past 2 months I've been recovering from surgery. So I played Outer Worlds, and then I played a ton of different mobile games, and I don't feel like shilling for any of those mobile games except for one.
Okay.
Because I genuinely don't like talking about mobile games that I don't see that are healthy.
Right.
Even though I played them. The one that I will talk about is it's not like, so I think a lot of mobile games tend to be kind of like this, okay, you're going to play with other people sort of approach to it. Mm-hmm. This one has absolutely zero interaction with the rest of the world. Like, you can't, there's no friends list. There's not, like, this is literally, it is a mobile gacha game that is single player.
Nice.
So, it's called Another Eden. And the reason why I got into it was because someone was like, hey, there's going to be a Persona 5 collab coming, and they're going to give the Persona 5 characters to you for free.
Already downloaded.
And I was like, you sold me. All you had to say was Persona 5. I am in it.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. So the nice thing about the collab is that it's permanent. So it's not one of those. Yeah, no, so that's the thing, is it's a permanent collab. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of my experience, and you're going to realize something that I realized very late. So you start the game off as like a young man who wakes up, and there's like some sort of like, I don't know, festival going on with like some balloons and stuff. And
so it's Chrono Trigger.
So you're already on track. So you go do some stuff, and then like, something bad happens, and then
with your scientist friend.
And then you get taken to a different time period, and do stuff, and then you get taken to another time period.
Weird. Okay.
Prehistoric this time. So you do some stuff, and at some point you run into this frog man who, this frog man, and he straight up like starts talking to you because you came to his swamp or whatever.
Forsooth.
And he's like, by the way, my name is Cyrus.
Oh my god. So it's just the SparkNotes version of Chrono Trigger.
At that point I said, hold up.
Wait a tick.
Like, I need to look at this real quick, because 1 second here.
Yeah.
So I opened it up. So the creator and also the musical director of Chrono Trigger are the people behind this game.
Okay.
So that explains a heck of a lot. By the way, that frogman is definitely wearing Chrono's what do you call it? Cape thing.
Right.
He's definitely wearing that cape. And the other thing is that the currency in this game is called Chronos, and they've already mentioned Chrono.
Jeez.
So I'm like, let me tell you, this I know these guys have tried numerous times to, get that IP and like try and like, we really want to make another Chrono, and Square's like, no, you can't.
Right.
This must be the biggest slap that they can do. So you won't let us make another one. We will do all we can in the face of the IP. This must be it. This must be the peak of that. So, like I said, this game does have a gacha. Mm-hmm. There are free units. And they have given, like, once you reach chapter 2, they basically give you a 10 pull. So,
nice.
Whatever. The game is has lengthy dialogues. It's got a story. Every one of those characters you recruit, like from the poll system or whatever, has like their own little like side quest and side story type stuff.
Right.
But the game is very much condensed in a single player type experience. I would call it like, if Xenoblade Chronicles 2, that's the one with the gacha in it, right? So if that gacha was limited to like login, like you would get only crystals for login or whatever, that is very much what I'm experiencing on this mobile game.
Oh, wow.
It's very much that. So like, on one hand, I don't want people to like go into this and spend money.
Right.
Please do not.
Please,
but like,
yeah.
But it is a pretty interesting type of gacha, and I am enjoying it for its story. And I gave you a very Cliff Notesy version of what's going on. You get to a certain part in the story where you can just kind of travel between different time periods, and you go to like basically this land of like the Space Rift or whatever, which has like a bar and like a
sleeping man with a bowler hat on.
Yeah, there is that sort of thing going on there. But the subtitle for the game is something like a cat that leapt through time or something like that is like the subtitle. You have a little cat that actually is the one that I don't know if it's the reason why you're going through time, but it seems to be there with you when you create these time portals or whatever.
That also happened in Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, you have a little cat that you keep with you, a little black cat. I don't remember the name of the black cat, but
probably Giannis knowing this game.
Hold on.
If it is, I'm going to lose my mind.
Now I need to look it up because I swear
another Eden cat name.
I don't know the name of the cat.
Kairos.
Okay, Kairos. Okay, so I seriously, I'm having a good time with it. I enjoy all the characters. I've recruited a couple of them. I think my favorite character I've recruited is a character that seems to think that she's like the princess of darkness, and she makes up all these sort of like BS type stories where she's like, I am like the evil sleeping within my soul and type stuff, and she's just like, and it's like none of that's real.
That's really good.
You're completely full of it. And then I also have like a really sleepy guy with me who just wants to take a nap all the time and doesn't really want to do anything.
Yeah,
so
I'm feeling that one.
So this is just, I don't know. It's a lot of fun. And I don't, maybe I'll have more to talk about it later. I unlocked fishing.
Yeah.
So that I've been doing that. And yeah, that's honestly all I've been playing. What about you, Boston?
Yesterday I just started Indivisible. It's the Lab Zero Games as a studio, if I remember correctly. That's the team that made Skullgirls, that fighting game that came out on
right.
PS3 and Vita like a while ago. So for their second project, they made an RPG that I guess I didn't really totally understand what it is, but it's pretty cool because when you're in between battles, it's almost a Metroidvania sort of thing, where you have a map and you have some, it's not really a platformer, but you do have some movement abilities. There are question marks on the map when there's very clearly a place you can't go through. Really early on, the main character gets an axe, and you can sort of, if there's something that's too high, instead of them giving you a double jump, you sort of plant the axe in the wall and then jump off of that to get higher. So, and then on the other hand, it's kind of, the battle system is kind of Valkyrie Profile / Xenogears, where each character has a sort of a combo underneath of them, and those buttons are filling up over time, and it feels very much like Valkyrie Profile. So I think I played maybe like 2 hours, but so far it seems really very promising. And I can't talk too much more about it because I'm very much at the beginning, but it seems like one of those games where it's like, all right, you're doing a lot of cool stuff here, and I'm pretty excited to see where this all goes and how this sort of evolves. But so far it seems great, looks great, music is fun, voice acting is really very good. And I got it for super cheap on Black Friday, so that's also a huge benefit. But I'll probably talk about Indivisible more next month because I'm hoping to dig into it. I'm not sure how long it is, but I'm assuming it's not too super long.
The animation in this trailer thing I'm watching looks freaking awesome for it.
Yeah, and like the animated cutscene stuff is really great, and the animation in the game itself is really, really solid. So far, it seems like it's a little bit difficult, but not in a way that is impossible or anything. But just I have to guard, I have to defend properly and stuff like that. So feels really good so far. Seems really great. But that's all I've been playing. So let's move on to our releases here. We don't have a lot, so we're just going to wrap this up. Releases for December 2019. Saga Scarlet Grace Ambitions is out now for PC, Switch, PS4, iOS, and Android. This is the first brand new Saga game since the PS2 one. So it has been well over a decade. I think now almost 15 years since there's been a brand new one. I've heard nothing but really, really good things about this game. I've heard the mobile versions are good too. So I'm excited to check this out once the Game of the Year season is over. Because I like Saga games because they're weird and usually really good. And I hear this one is a little more straightforward than previous Saga games have been, where it's like, all right, you need to pull up a strategy guide for just the basics, and that's not what this game is at all. So go check out Saga Scarlet Grace Ambitions. Hero Land is out now for PC, Switch, and PS4. This is you run a theme park where anyone can come and be a hero, except you're a tour guide so you're leading these like salarymen and vacation people through these fake dungeons to be adventurers. And I would really recommend watching a trailer because it has a really cool art style and seems like it's really fun. So that's called Hero Land. I just wanted to shine light on that one because that one seems really, really goofy. Speaking of Diablo games, Darksiders Genesis is out now for PC and Stadia. That comes to PS4, Xbox One, and I think Switch at the end of February. But this is a Darksiders Diablo-like, which it means it's combining two things that I really like. I thought this was coming out on consoles this year, but it's not, so I'm going to be waiting for that. But so far that sounds pretty good. Star Ocean First Departure R is out now for Switch and PS4. So the first Star Ocean game came out on PS1. That got a remake on PSP. They're kind of carrying that remake forward to the Switch and the PS4 with some quality of life improvements and like some redrawn character portraits and stuff. So if you already played First Departure, this isn't like a remake of that game. That's just, hey, now it's on platforms you own.
It's a funny story because I know I beat it, and I know I talked about it on this very podcast.
Yeah.
I don't remember a thing about that game.
I feel like with this coming out, that's the consensus from a lot of people, where it's like, it's a fine game, but it's very much an early PS1 RPG, where it's like, I remember having fun, but I don't remember anything about it.
I'm pretty sure it was pretty grindy. Like, I think it was a little bit more bland than I wanted it to be, but I'm still like, depending on what the quality of life improvements are in terms of getting past the grind and such, like, that could be enjoyable, but...
Yeah. And lastly, coming out on the 10th on PC, Dragon Quest Builders 2. I believe they just released a jumbo demo, which apparently is quite a bit of the intro of the game, and your save game carries over into the final version. So if you want to try out Dragon Quest Builders 2, which you should, you can go out, try out the Jumbo demo, and play a whole bunch of that game. Find out if you like it.
Have you guys not talked about that on here yet?
I mean it. You did.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before Litany of Problems happened.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you played a bunch and we talked about it, but it sort of more of Dragon Quest Builders 1, which is a really good thing. Like, more of a good thing.
Yeah.
Only 2 news stories this month because it's December. Nobody's doing anything in December, certainly not with RPGs. Square Enix opens a new Nier website ahead of the 10th anniversary of the series. I hope that means that we're going to get like a remaster of the first Nier game. I don't know if they would bring out Replicant or Gestalt here, since they're both basically the same game with different protagonists. But it would be nice to see, with Automata doing so well, it would be nice if there was a way for us to play the first Nier game on a modern platform. And I would like to play that game because I started it and went, boy, this seems like a lot, and then I did not finish it.
Dude, after Automata, I was like, man, maybe I should I go down this Drakengard hole? Like, I had a moment where it's like, maybe I should get all these games that supposedly control horribly and try to play them just to.
I have all of those games on PS2 and PS3, and I've never played them.
Wow.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
You know, they give me a Nier remake on Switch, I will purchase it.
There you go. Yeah. And lastly, Persona 5 Royal's release date revealed. We were talking about that at the beginning with some maybe unrealistic expectations. That comes out March 31st, 2020. God, why are you putting this out in March 2020? I have this pre-ordered because the steelbook looks really great, and I can only pre-order just the steelbook and not like the mask and the whatever, because Lord knows I don't need more stuff in this office behind me. But I probably won't play that because I platinumed the original, and that was like 130 hours. So, but now you can play darts. And there's a new person.
They're freaking putting it in between Final Fantasy VII Remake and Cyberpunk 2077. Like, I realize people who play both of those games won't necessarily be Persona fans, but
sure,
100%
chances are good.
I bet, like these are games that I think we're all gonna want to check out. So,
well, March 2020, like I understand why they're putting them out, because it's the end of the fiscal year for these companies. So like you want to put all that stuff out in the fiscal year, so your investors and all that. But like Doom Eternal is coming out in that month as well, same as Animal Crossing. That comes out the month too.
Oh,
like,
gosh.
There's just so much stuff coming out March 2020 that I don't know what we're going to do. just as a people.
I'm just not going to get to play Doom when it comes. Man, I love that 2016 Doom, but like, I mean,
yeah, it's so good.
I guess the other situation exists where Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out and it's terrible, and then I immediately stop playing it and look for something else. I say that I don't remember which ones. Is Final Fantasy VII March, or is that?
Yes.
Okay, so then Cyberpunk is April then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't have that much. Gosh, I need to actually look to see if I can afford what I've pre-ordered.
If you can afford March.
Yeah. Like after my angry talk of, why isn't this just DLC I can download? Why do you have to make me buy it again? I pre-ordered the stupid 2 copies of the collector's edition right now.
Right.
So.
Well, it's a cool collector's edition. Like Atlas always does a really good job at putting out collector's editions. And this is also to say, Persona 5 is a really great game. If you as a listener missed it originally, it seems like Royal is just it's like Persona 4 Golden. Oh, we took a really great game and we just put more in it. So
I'm not. That's the other thing that
if they wanted to put Golden out again, I would gladly buy Golden again.
Put it on PS4.
Just want to put it on, just take it off the Vita and put it elsewhere. I will buy it again. Come on, please.
Yeah.
I'd love for them to do a straight out remake of 3. Like, let's just take all the elements of FES and P3P
You can leave behind the
mash them
answer.
together.
Yeah, don't worry about the answer. You leave that on the PS2.
Or just make make a visual novel book of the answer. That
now you're talking my language. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. I like it. Atlas, send me on a check.
Knew the right thing to say to get you guys on my side. Okay.
That's right. I like it. All right, that's all of our episode this month. Thank you so much for listening. You can visit us at pickingupthepixels.com. Everywhere to find and follow us on the right-hand side of the page. Patreon.com/E1M1. The ones are numbers. The $5 a month tier is the one I recommend. That gets you everything. If you want to give us more money than that, that'd be great. It helps fund the show because, Lord, is it not cheap. And sometimes an outcast of the uncensored stuff that I release every week, sometimes this show shows up. Probably not this week, because there's nothing that we talked about, really. But sometimes, you never know. Where can we find you on the internet, Musum?
You can find the nexus of all my audio endeavors at jbaudio.net. I forgot for a moment.
And Mina, how about you?
You can find me at twitch.tv at Mina K.O. Rocket in Boston.
E1M1.com for all my podcasts, along with the Patreon link. And if you're obsessed about Destiny emblems like I am, DestinyEmblemCollector.com, my new website where I will tell you how to share my problem. But at least that's free. And Destiny 2 is free now, so go grab that and come play with me. But that's our episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you all next month.
Bye.
Bye.